The spaceport market was loud, crowded, and careless. Ships roared overhead. Merchants shouted prices. Boots scraped metal floors. No one noticed the small dragon hatchling at first. It sat behind a stack of cargo crates, wings folded tight, tail wrapped around its body. Its scales were dull red, still soft with youth. In its claws, it held a small toy, metal and crystal, shaped like a flying creature. One wing of the toy hung broken, sparking weakly. The hatchling made a soft crying sound. Not a roar. Not a threat. Just quiet, broken sobs. People passed by and looked away. Some recognized what it was and felt fear crawl up their spines. Dragons were not pets. Dragon young were never alone. Touching one was a good way to die. Others saw it and felt annoyance. A dragon problem was not their problem. The crying continued. A human mechanic walking through the market slowed his steps. He carried a heavy tool bag on one shoulder. His clothes were stained with oil and burn marks. His face showed long hours and little sleep. He had learned to ignore noise just to survive a workday. But this sound cut through everything. He stopped. The human turned and spotted the hatchling behind the crates. He froze for a moment. His heart jumped. Dragons meant danger. Dragons meant power far above his station. He knew the stories. Everyone did. Then he noticed the toy. He noticed the way the hatchling held it close, like it was the only thing keeping it together. The human sighed quietly and set his tool bag down. Slowly, carefully, he knelt a few steps away. He did not reach out. He did not make sudden movements. He simply spoke, his voice low and calm. "Hey there," he said softly. "What happened to you?" The hatchling flinched at the sound, then looked up. Its eyes were large and wet, glowing faintly within a fire. It looked at the human, then at the broken toy, and let out another small cry. The human nodded as if he understood. "That thing break on you?" he asked. He pointed gently at the toy, asking without words. The hatchling hesitated, then slowly pushed the toy forward across the floor. The human picked it up with both hands. He examined it like he would any machine, carefully, respectfully. A cracked joint. A snapped power thread. Poor design for something meant to be loved. He opened his tool bag. Tiny tools came out. Wires. A stabilizer patch. He worked slowly, making sure his hands never brushed the hatchling by accident. The market noise faded from his mind. There was only the repair. The hatchling watched every movement. Its crying faded into quiet sniffles. Its tail unwrapped slightly. After a few minutes, the human pressed the final piece into place. The toy's wing straightened. The crystal core glowed bright and steady. The toy lifted itself into the air and fluttered gently. The hatchling gasped. A small, happy sound escaped its throat. The human smiled and set the toy down between them. He slid it back gently. "There you go," he said. "All fixed." The hatchling grabbed the toy and hugged it to its chest. The crying stopped completely. The human stood, picked up his bag, and turned to leave, never noticing the faint shimmer of observation shields high above the market. Never knowing that royal eyes had just seen everything. The human did not leave right away. He took one step, then stopped when he heard a small sound behind him. Not crying this time. A soft, curious chirp. He turned slowly. The dragon hatchling was no longer hiding. It had shuffled out from behind the crates, toy clutched tightly to its chest. Its wings twitched as it watched the human with careful interest. The fear was still there, but it was weaker now, mixed with something new. Trust. The human lowered himself again, keeping a safe distance. He rested on one knee and kept his hands visible. "Looks like it still works," he said quietly. The toy fluttered in a slow circle, humming softly. The hatchling followed it with its eyes, then looked back at the human. It tilted its head, studying him the way young creatures do when deciding what something is. Around them, the market had begun to notice. Whispers spread. People slowed. Some stopped entirely. "Is that human insane?" He touched a dragon young. "Where are the guards?" No one stepped closer. The human felt the weight of the stares but ignored them. He focused on the hatchling instead. He noticed the dirt on its scales. The thinness of its limbs. The way it stayed close to the crates, like it had nowhere else to go. "You lost?" he asked gently. The hatchling did not understand the words, but it understood the tone. It made a small sound and sat down, curling its tail around its feet. The toy settled beside it, still glowing. The human reached into his pocket and pulled out a nutrient bar, already broken into pieces. He placed one piece on the floor between them and slid it forward. Then he pulled his hand back. The hatchling sniffed the air. Carefully, it leaned forward and took the piece. It tasted it, then froze. A second later, it began to eat quickly. The crowd murmured louder now. Feeding a dragon hatchling was forbidden. Feeding one without permission was unthinkable. The human didn't know that. He only saw a hungry child. When the hatchling finished, it looked up at him again. Its eyes were brighter now. Stronger. It shuffled closer, then stopped, unsure. The human stayed still, breathing slow. After a long moment, the hatchling leaned forward and gently pressed its forehead against the human's knee. A dragon's version of a thank you. The market went silent. The human swallowed but did not move. He let the contact happen. After a few seconds, the hatchling pulled back and sat again, clearly pleased. The human smiled. Well, he said softly, I should probably get going. He stood slowly. This time, the hatchling made a sound of protest. It stepped forward, toy in one claw, and looked up at him. The human hesitated. Then he reached out, not to touch, but to gently push the toy back into the hatchling's arms. Keep it safe, he said. As he turned and walked away, none of the watchers noticed the faint shift in the air above them. They did not see the hidden observers lean forward. They did not hear the quiet words spoken far above the market. Watch him carefully. Because the simple act they had just witnessed was not simple at all. High above the market, beyond glass and light, the dragon royals watched in silence. The observation chamber was hidden behind layered shields and illusion fields. From below, it did not exist. From within, the entire market was clear and sharp, every movement tracked and recorded. Ancient dragons filled the chamber. Some were massive, their bodies coiled around pillars of living stone. Others stood tall on two legs, wings folded, eyes burning with old fire. Gold, white, black, and red scales reflected the soft glow of royal sigils. At the center sat the dragon empress. Her gaze had not left the human once. This was not arranged, one noble said slowly. Correct. No, replied another. The hatchling wondered. The toy failure was accidental. The empress nodded. Then this is truth. They replayed the moment again. The human stopping. Kneeling. Repairing the toy with careful hands. Feeding the hatchling. Leaving without reward. No fear. No attempt to claim favor. No display of strength. One of the older nobles narrowed his eyes. He did not know he was seen. That is why it matters, the empress said. Dragons had tested many species before. Some with trials. Some with war. Some with gifts meant to expose greed. Most failed quickly. Kindness always vanished when power was unseen. This human gained nothing, a noble said. Yet he gave time, food, and care. And risk, another added. Much risk. The empress leaned forward. What do humans gain from such acts? Silence followed. Finally, a scholar spoke. Nothing measurable. Humans do this among themselves. It is common. A low rumble passed through the chamber. Dragons did not understand such things easily. Power was currency. Fear was safety. Mercy was rare. The empress watched the hatchling below, now happily chasing its repaired toy. Send no guards, she said. Not yet. But the hatchling is safe, the empress replied. Safer than it has been all cycle. The nobles hesitated but obeyed. Below, the human walked through the market, unaware. His shoulders were tense now. He felt eyes on him, though he could not see them. He moved faster, blending into the crowd. Track him, the empress ordered. Light shifted. Data flowed. He is a mechanic, a voice reported. Independent. No criminal record. No dragon ties. Low political value. The empress's eyes glowed brighter. Low value, she repeated. To everyone except the child. She rose slowly, wings unfolding just enough to make the chamber tremble. Prepare a summoning protocol, she said. Quietly. A noble looked surprised. For a human? For a question, the empress answered. She looked once more at the market below. At the small hatchling. At the place where the human had knelt. This one did not act for reward, she said softly. Which means his character cannot be bought. The empress turned away. And that, she finished, is far more dangerous than strength. Far below, the human felt a chill run through him. He did not know why. He did not know that his quiet kindness had just reached a throne. The human had almost reached the edge of the market when the air changed. It was subtle at first. The noise softened, like sound being gently pressed down. Lights dimmed just enough to be noticed. Conversations faded into uneasy silence. He slowed, his instincts warning him before his mind could. Behind him, the dragon hatchling let out a sharp chirp. The human turned. The hatchling was standing tall now, toy clutched tightly, eyes fixed on the open space ahead. Its small wings trembled, not in fear, but in alertness. Then the guards arrived. They did not run. They did not shout. They simply appeared, stepping out of controlled flashes of light. Tall dragon sentinels in ceremonial armor formed a wide circle around the area. Their weapons stayed lowered, but their presence crushed the air. The crowd panicked. People dropped to their knees. Some fled. Others froze where they stood, heads bowed. The human did neither. He swallowed hard and raised his hands slowly, palms open. "I didn't mean any trouble," he said, voice steady despite the pounding in his chest. The sentinels did not answer. One stepped forward, massive and silent, eyes locked on the hatchling. The human moved without thinking. He stepped sideways, placing himself between the guard and the hatchling. His arms stayed open, not threatening, but protective. The guard stopped. The market went completely silent. The human realized what he had done and felt fear flood his body. He was blocking a dragon guard. One wrong move and he would be gone. But he did not step away. "I fixed a toy," he said quietly. "That's all. If someone's in trouble, it's me. Not the kid." The hatchling made an angry sound and pressed against his leg, wings flaring. The toy sparked brighter, reacting to the hatchling's emotions. High above, the dragon empress watched closely. "He chooses protection," a noble whispered. The empress said nothing. Below, another sentinel stepped forward and extended a claw, not toward the human, but toward the hatchling. The hatchling hissed. The human lifted his hand slightly. "Easy," he murmured. "It's okay." He was shaking now, but he stayed calm. The sentinel paused, then withdrew its claw. A voice echoed through the market, calm and powerful, carried on hidden speakers. "That is enough." Every dragon froze. Light poured down as the illusion fields dropped. The sky above the market shimmered, revealing a massive royal platform suspended in the air. Ancient sigils burned bright. Banners of the dragon court unfolded slowly. The dragon empress stepped forward, her presence overwhelming. The human's knees weakened, but he stayed standing. "You," the empress said, her voice gentle and terrifying at once. "Human." He looked up, unable to speak. "You were not summoned," she continued. "You were not tested. And yet you chose to act." Her eyes moved to the hatchling, now pressed tightly against the human's leg. "You placed yourself between power and a child," she said. "Without knowing who watched." The market held its breath. "This was the test no one announced," the empress declared. "And you passed it." The human exhaled shakily, not sure if he had just been condemned, or saved. The market remained silent long after the empress finished speaking. No one dared to move. The dragon empress stepped closer to the edge of the royal platform. Her vast wings folded neatly behind her, not in threat, but in respect. Her gaze rested on the human, still standing, still unsure if his life was about to end. "You are afraid," she said calmly. The human nodded. "Yes." A few nobles shifted at the honesty. Dragons rarely heard fear admitted so plainly. "And yet," the empress continued, "you did not abandon the hatchling." The human glanced down. The small dragon had wrapped its tail around his leg and was clutching the repaired toy like treasure. "I just didn't want it to be scared," he said. "That's all." The empress studied him for a long moment. "That," she said softly, "is never all." She raised one claw, and the sentinels stepped back. The pressure in the air eased. People in the market finally dared to breathe. "Kneel if you wish," the empress said. "Or stand. Either choice will be accepted." The human hesitated, then remained standing. A ripple of surprise passed through the court. The empress smiled. "Very well." She turned to the hatchling. "Little one, do you wish to return to the court?" The hatchling looked at the empress, then at the human. It chirped softly and pressed closer to him. The empress laughed, low, warm, and real. "So," she said, "it has chosen." Gasps echoed through the market. "A bond formed without command," the empress announced. "Without fear. Without reward." She looked back to the human. "You will not be punished. You will not be owned. You will be invited." A symbol of light formed in the air before him, a royal mark of protection. "Wherever you walk," she said, "no dragon will harm you. Wherever you work, no dragon will threaten you. The mark settled gently into his clothing, fading but permanent. The Empress stepped back. Return the hatchling at sunset, she said. Until then, it is under your care. The sentinels withdrew. The platform began to rise. As the court vanished into the sky, the market slowly returned to life. People stared at the human with new eyes, fear, awe, confusion. The human looked down at the hatchling. Well, he said quietly, guess we're stuck together for the afternoon. The hatchling chirped happily and climbed onto his shoulder. Across the stars, the story would spread. Not of conquest. Not of war. But of a human who fixed a toy, calmed a child, and reminded a royal court of something they had forgotten. True power is revealed by what you protect, when no one is watching. Dragon sparkles.